Welcome to Varsity Voices Boys Swimming. My name is Jeff DiVeronica from the Democrat and Chronicle. In studio guest today is the Pittsford Boys Swimming Program. Well, not the entire program. We don't have a big enough set for that, but we have Coach Rick Schmitt here on the far right. In the middle to my right is Casey Ransford, and right next to me is John Kellet. His nickname is Zeit. Let's start right there. What does that mean, the nickname?
It's a nickname that my dad gave me because he used to live in Switzerland. It means roughly like time. It comes from the German word Zeitgeist, which translates to around like time spirit or spirit of the moment.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad it was something we could say here on air, not something crazy. Yeah. So that's good. So Pittsford is the top team in Section 5. That's not breaking news at all. It's been that way for a while. Even long before Rick was the coach. Rick, fourth year as the head coach at Pittsford. You guys are 8-0, 14 straight Section 5 titles. You formerly coached at Penfield. You used to have to go against this program. Now you're the head coach. What's it like being the head coach of this group? And I guess over the years, from the outside looking in and now being on the inside, I know you were an assistant for a while too. What's the secret to success at Pittsford?
Well, it's an honor and a privilege to coach in a program like this. The secret of success is basically like most sports. It's youth sports. It's getting the kids to train, especially in swimming year-round, because it's an aerobic-based type of sport. And I also think that in the Pittsford community, we have a great age group program, not only with the USA Club program, the PAC, but also the Southeast Y Sharks program, which has a lot of young kids swimming as well.
Swimming is really a sport where you can't fake it, right, Casey? I mean, you have to put in the time. And you have some great role models growing up. You have two brothers that came through the program. Tell me about your introduction to swimming. How old were you, and how much did having older brothers who were successful push you?
Well, I started swimming actually back when I lived in Maryland. I was like 4 or 5 when my parents put me in the pool. Started swimming for the country club team. But my mom likes to say I always wanted to be like my brothers. So I would always like race and try to be the fastest, and I always wanted to be with them. Even though they're like 3, 4 years older than me, and it was ridiculous. But like I was always just trying to keep up with them, and I think that's what's really helped push me through my entire high school career.
PJ's terrific. He's at the University of Michigan. He's a junior, All-American, Olympic hopeful, right? Who's the oldest brother?
Shay
Ransford, okay. Tell us about your start, John. When did you get started swimming, and was it like a competition thing right away, do you remember, or did this happen later on?
I started doing competition later on. The first swimming I did was in the YMCA, just swimming classes. My dad put me in those when I was around 7 or 8. And then as I started to get more into it, then he put me on the Sand Sharks team for the Y. And then later on, he put me on the actual Sharks team.
So you guys are like, what, 17, 18 years old, right? So that means we're almost, you guys are toddlers the last time Pittsford didn't win the sectionals. Casey, what's it like, the pressure? Is it pressure? Is it motivation? Tell me about being part of the program that is always on top. You get everyone's best shot every meet, but what's it like being on top?
I mean, I think it's just part of the program at this point, where you kind of come in knowing you got a target on your back, and every meet you got to go out and show everyone that you're the top dog. And I think that's something that at times has been a challenge for the team to keep in mind, that it wasn't just given to us, we still have to work for it. But I think especially the group of guys we got this year, like we know what we're going for, and sometimes you got to think beyond just the section. You got to motivate people with, hey, let's go after this state relay, or let's go after state ranking and stuff like that. And I think that's what keeps us hungry.
Coach, you look around the pool when you guys train, and it's evident, right, John? All the banners are on the wall, and you can see how much winning this program has done. How many years have you been on varsity?
4 years now.
5 years.
Okay, so you've gotten used to it. John, tell me about the training. How many hours a week during the season are you spending literally in the pool?
In the pool? Oh, let me do some mental math. It's 3 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then 2 hours on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2.5 on Saturday.
3
on Saturday.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot. So, but it goes back to what we talked about before we came on the program here, but also is that you have to put in the work. And Coach, that's something. By the time they get to you as varsity swimmers, and again, some of these guys are young, freshmen, might have 8th grader once in a while come up too, but do they know that? Or do you have to really still get on kids that you can't fake it? You have to put in the time, or there's no way you're going to become an elite swimmer.
I think the message is sent at the lower level. Our modified program is very healthy with numbers. I think they get introduced of what is ahead of them if they stay in the program. And then with the JV guys, we go through things. They're with us. They practice right after us or right before us every day. We have meets that we compete together at. So they see and they see the role modeling, what needs to take place if they want to get to this point. And then I have an end of season meeting with each member of our program and their parents at the end of the year for a half an hour, and we talk about how the season went, goals for next year, and expectations, both what they have of us and what I'll have of them if they come back.
Casey, that's a lot of time you guys spend in the pool. What's going through? And I remember when I tried to be an athlete and I had to run and all that stuff, I would try to think of things to kind of pass the time, right? When I'm running, or never did swimming to your degree, but what do you think about when you're in the pool? Are you thinking physically about technique, or are you thinking about what you're going to have for dinner later, or what?
It's funny because I'll tell some of my friends, like sometimes it depends on the set. If we're doing like a warm-up or just kind of like a long and strong kind of swim, I'll think about, homework, think about like math and stuff like that. I told my public speaking teacher, like one time I wrote an entire speech during a set because I got so bored because we were doing like 500s BC 8 or whatever.
Did you notice the dirty look there?
Yeah.
But when we get into a nice intense set, especially for me like a butterfly heavy set or something like that, I'm thinking, how many shimmers am I doing off every wall? How many strokes am I doing? How many times am I breathing? When am I breathing? And I'm trying to perfect when to do everything so that when I get into a race, it's all ready to go and it's all just been practiced over and over again. So.
Coach, tell me some of the strengths of John, and then we'll talk about Casey. But John, obviously, I'm looking at your sheet here, winning 400 resale team last year at sectionals, fourth in the 500 free. That's a lot of time in the pool. No wonder you're telling me all those hours. And seventh in the 200 freestyle. Coach, tell me about this guy.
Zeit has become one of the premier distance freestylers in the section. And in order to do that, you have to train very hard and a lot of distance type of sets that we do in practice. So depending on our workouts, he's doing stuff like what I would call 300, 400, 500 yard repeats. So it's 12, 16, 20 lengths of the pool, and repeat that 4 or 5 times with some other things thrown in there, and it's really paid off. And
how long a 500 freestyle race for you? What's a good time for you? How many minutes?
My best time right now is 4:47.
Wow. I was thinking longer than that. Okay. All right. Well, tell me about Casey now. Casey, Section 5 champion last year in Class A in the 100 butterfly, and also as a member of the 200 medley relay and 400 freestyle relay, and also runner-up in the backstroke. Tell me about his strengths.
Well, you've
the
hit
genes
on,
or something, right?
Yeah, you've hit on it. He's one of our most versatile swimmers, not only in our program but in the section and in the state. He can do the IM. He can sprint when he needs to sprint now. He's worked really hard on that. The fly, the back. There's really nothing that he can't do, and which is great because Zeit is one more specific type of athlete. While Casey is, I can move him around and shift him in depending on our meet lineups. So it's a great tool for me as a coach. Did
you ever swim other strokes and just not like them, or just really good at freestyle?
I just realized I'm better at freestyle.
Butterflies, that is physically demanding. If you've never seen what the butterfly is, Google it. I mean, it is. I remember my sister used to do this when I was a kid, and I couldn't do it. She's a couple years older than me, so when I was a young guy, she was a little stronger, but I couldn't do it. I mean, that's really got to get you winded, the butterfly.
It's something you work at, and don't sell Zeit short. He's got a pretty good. He's
ranked top 10 in the fly as well. If you're in our program, you swim in just about everything.
But the versatility helps you in moving guys around for different meets and stuff. It's always struck me as amazing that you guys can figure out where you're going to fit based on times. You can project how well you may do unless somebody has a really terrible meet, right? And it usually seems to work out. I mean, I always think of swim coaches almost like mathematicians. They have it all figured out. Who's going to get what points? How many points I'm going to get in this race and that race? Luckily, strategy for you guys are pretty good, right? You can just roll the ball out there and they all swim well, right?
If it was that easy, yes, but we do put a lot of time.
So you're saying I couldn't coach and win at Pittsford?
I would say, I won't say that anybody can do it, but I also won't say that it pertains to one person. But
your coaching goes on during practice. It's not
yes,
during the meet, right?
We're prepared. We're very prepared for our meets, and we can swim different guys around. But that's how we train. Is how we prepare.
Did you swim as a high school athlete?
Yes, I did. I've been a competitive swimmer since the age of 6. And did the club swimming, and I swam at Webster, and I went on to swim 1 year MCC and 3 years at Oswego.
So guys, tell me about goals. Casey, individually, you must have goals. I know the team, you want to make it number 15 right around Valentine's Day at sectionals. But individually, what are your personal goals for sectionals and states?
I mean, a couple years ago, I watched my brother win the 500 free at states, and that was pretty cool for me. So, ultimately, I want to get as close to the top of the state as I can. But I think, like number specific, I want to try to get an All-American cut. I think that would be a great end to my high school career for me.
How about you, Zite?
As far as my 500, I want to try to get an NCSA Junior National cut.
Okay. Well, I know you guys will do well. Again, if you put in the time, unless you just blow off practice the next couple of weeks, right? But no, you guys will put in the work. You guys are good swimmers. It's a great program. It really is. When I got here in the mid-'90s, Fairport was the standard, right? And you guys kind of shifted things, and you've held on to it. And not only just the boys program, but the girls program too. Any rivalry stuff between the girls and the boys about, do you guys ever jab each other? Who's going to lose it first? Or we're not going to lose this year. Are you guys going to lose or no?
I mean, the girls are something else. I mean, there's a reason Coach Keating, he's got those girls down, and they're really good. They're one of the best teams in the public school teams in the country, I'd say. I mean, they're incredible. So, I mean, yeah, we're good, but I think part of the motivating factor is the girls can all kick our butt, and we all know it. So,
one last question, because it's kind of quirky, and I've heard this for years. And I remember when I initially was a young reporter, and they said, well, we're going to shave before sectionals. I didn't know exactly what that meant, but you literally shave your body hair, right?
Yeah.
And it really works?
It's more than body hair. It's the top layer skin cells. So,
Really?
if you scratched your arm, you get a little white marks, that's dead skin cells. So by shaving, you actually take off the top layers of the skin, so you expose the nerve endings closer to the surface, so it gives you a sensation in the water. And it would be like waxing your car in a way, where the beads of water sort of roll off.
Sure.
If you don't, they sort of beads of water stick to your skin. So that's the real reason. Yes, and if you're a hairy person, obviously you take off more of the hair, but people that don't have hair actually benefit from shaving as well.
Are we onto something here? Can you put wax on your body? Is that illegal,
I don't
right?
think you can foreign type of substance.
Well, it's a winning culture at Pittsford, and we're glad to have them in the studio. Guys, thanks for coming down. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And thanks for watching us right here at DemocratandChronicle.com.